the Russians are in a position to invade Ukraine. They put their troops around Ukraine, ready to go. They will have designed the plan of how they would do it, or several plans, options, if you like. But the decision to invade has not been made, obviously, and that decision to invade will be decided by Mr. Putin when he thinks it will be to his advantage to do so, if he thinks that. That's my view.
And the Defence Secretary, Ben Wallace, has said that that what we're doing at the moment is almost amounting to appeasement, and that he says it is highly likely there will be an invasion soon. Do you agree with him?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I just don't know that. He may do, but I don't.
I mean, all the experts go ahead.
His reference to appeasement is implying that some nations in Europe, particularly, and he's probably thinking of Germany, because the Russians have got a stranglehold on German energy, that the Germans aren't being as vociferous or as pointed in their disagreement with what the Russians are doing as others.
Is there concern, but I mean, when you look at this from both a military perspective and a political perspective, does it concern you that the West, and the UK included in that, seems to be upping the ante against President Putin? I mean, there are arguments to be made that perhaps they're making conflict more likely.
There's a little bit of truth in that, insofar as the West, i.e. NATO, has reinforced parts of its area being the countries that are members of NATO, but it's a reaction. NATO is a defensive alliance. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, it's been stated quite clearly that by our ministers, our defence ministers, that we will not be sending troops into Ukraine to defend Ukraine. Ukraine is not part of NATO. It wants to be, and that's half the problem. It wants to be a part of NATO, and the Russians don't want it to be. But there is no doubt that NATO has put more troops on the borders, on its borders, in response to the aggression, not just in the Donbass, which is eastern Ukraine, by Russian-infiltrated troops, but also with the fact that in 2014, the Russians took over in the Crimea, and they've stayed there. I can understand why they're there, because of the Black Sea Fleet being positioned there, but the response of NATO nations, is because Russia has vastly vamped up the troops surrounding Ukraine.